What's happening, guys? Chris, VA Travels, and down here on the mean streets of Richmond, Virginia, and going to visit the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. And if you come down, they've got a gravel parking lot back here. I actually parked along Main Street, but and it is housed in the Old Stone House. This is the oldest residential house in Richmond, built between 1730 and 1750. And first of all, let me take a look at this wrought iron fence. Big gate right here. And actually, let me cross the street so you can get a good look at this thing. We've got the old number 22 trolley passing by. And all right, here it is, Old Stone House. And see some cedar shingles on that thing. Those stones, I bet, came off the James. We're on the north side of the James at the Rocky Fall line. So just a real small house. I'm glad they still have this thing preserved. But it was owned by a German immigrant named Jacob Ege, E-G-E is how you spell his last name. And the family lived here until 1911. And if you come down, the Holocaust Museum is down to the right. Oh, actually, I think I remember seeing a Quaker sign, a sign about early Quakers living in Richmond. I'll just take a quick look at that. Let me go on this side. All right, so yeah, right near here was the old Quaker meeting house that was built 1797 to 1798. Earliest Quakers had arrived in Virginia from England 1677, and it's the second oldest house of worship in Richmond after the famous St. John's Church. Okay, pause and read. All right, I see a sign. All right, I'm gonna read this plaque. And yeah, a lot of people think that Edgar Allan Poe is from Baltimore. He lived in Baltimore for a few years. I ended up also coming back, dying there, but Richmond is what he called home. He was actually born in Boston, to tell you, but after just a couple of years of age, moved down here to Richmond. So yeah, as I said, 1730s to 1750s. Okay, all right, 1607, pretty cool. The old Susan Constant discovery in Speedwell. And oldest house, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is saying 1737. And a gift, okay, from the Valentine. Valentine's lived over here at the over there at the Wickham House. I've got a video on that. And, okay, placed in the custody of the Edgar Allan Poe Shrine in 1924. Pretty cool. Yeah, okay, there's a sign of them right there, but let me go in and take the tour. So here are the hours. All right, guys, just got my ticket. It's $10. There's a QR code you can scan to take the audio tour. And cool, yeah, it looks like you can tour the Old Stone House. The birth of a poet. He wasn't born here. Actually, he never lived in this house. His closest connection to the house was when he was 15 years old. Marquis de Lafayette came through Richmond on his big tour. And he was a rifleman in a little junior militia. And they brought Marquis de Lafayette to the house. And this house was already popular because it was, even back then, it was just known as a kind of a famous, I guess, historic house. And we'll just kind of walk around this courtyard. They call this the Enchanted Garden. Cool little vase over here. Kind of little dragon arm right there, or is that a seahorse, actually? Not sure. Yeah, the Enchanted Gardens. Garden Club 2022. Okay, little blocks to sit down. In memory of Richard Turner Arrington, President and faithful benefactor of the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. Pretty cool. All right, I'm sure in the summertime, they've got that fountain going. And yeah, that tree's still in bloom over there. Not sure what that is. But yeah, this shrine back here, we'll take a look at the sculpture. Oh, and the bricks on this, and I think the blocks as well, were taken from the Southern Literary Messenger. And it was a periodical here down in Richmond where Edgar worked. And I think that it was the first place where he did his first writings, actually. But yeah, unfortunately, they had to demolish the building to widen the road. And I think it was just a couple blocks from here. But yeah, let's take a look at this sculpture. And it's pretty nice, actually. There's this trademark mustache. And interesting. Yeah, a couple urns, pretty cool chairs right here, iron chairs. Pretty neat statue. All right. Oh, what's back here? Oh, okay, it's the back of the mysterious death building. Black cat over here, catching some sun. Hope I don't scare him off. What does this tag say? POE Museum. And I think that's a pretty steep roof right there. Yeah, let me first take a walk through the old stone house. Okay, all right, we've got Edgar Allan Poe's bed, small bed, but obviously it was a child's bed. And he would often wake up having nightmares of somebody watching him while he was sleeping. And he incorporated that into his famous Telltale Heart story. So that's pretty cool. I would hit the button and read this write-up it's talking about his childhood. And yeah, sadly, he was orphaned. His father had left the family about 6 months, had abandoned the family about 6 months after he was born. And his wife died when Edgar was 2 years old of tuberculosis. And yeah, that's what got everybody at the time. And then he wasn't adopted, but these were his foster parents. This is John Allen, wealthy merchant. And he had kind of a contentious relationship with John Allen. And so Poe decided not to use his last name. He used it as his middle name, Edgar Allan Poe, keeping his natural parents' last name. There she is, Frances Valentine Allen. Okay, so she must be related to the Valentine family here in Richmond. So Poe was born the same year as Abraham Lincoln and Charles Darwin. A picture of the big theater fire here in Richmond. Pretty dramatic picture, people falling out of the building, jumping out of the windows. And it occurred the day after Christmas. You had December 26th, 1811. The only known picture of his mother, Eliza. She was an actress. Both of his parents were actors. Elmira Royster Shelton, and this is Poe's first fiancée. A little bit of a sad story. He had gotten engaged with her before he went off to UVA, and her father had actually intercepted letters that he was writing her while away. Basically, he thought his daughter could do better. Poe already had a reputation of being a little bit of an alcoholic and whatnot at the time. Kind of sad, so she ended up marrying somebody else, but she later in life became a widow, and Edgar tried to get back with her later in life. And there's a sketching of her by Edgar, and this must have been in her younger days because it looks nothing like this picture. All right, here's a smaller picture of her right there. And here's the father that was intercepting the letters. That would be James Royster. It might have been a pretty good move because Edgar did live most of his life in poverty. He didn't make much money off of his writings. He was kind of your ultimate starving artist. Pretty good bust over here. It was made in 1898 and was commissioned by the University of Virginia. Looks like he's deep in thought. And it's on a pretty nice pedestal. Let me, the light hit it. Pianoforte over here, owned by his sister. That would be Rosalie Poe. This thing is manufactured up in New York. There she is right there, his only sister. Rosalie lived with the Mackenzie family, and this is Jane Scott Mackenzie. She ran an all-girls school here in Richmond. This mantle is from Poe's boyhood bedroom at the Allen House. And it was about 6 blocks from here, off of 14th in Tobacco Alley. The house was demolished in 1927. Check out this painting, pretty nice. Going back to 1647, and this painting is also from Poe's childhood home. Yeah, John Allen was pretty wealthy. Here's a handkerchief painted by Poe's sister. There used to be red roses on this thing, and they say they would add the red roses to disguise any sort of blood that was coughed onto the handkerchief because tuberculosis was such a common disease at the time. This chair is from Edgar's foster mother's bedroom, a place called Moldavia. That was over there at 5th and Main Street. Whoops, pretty nice back. And this walnut drop leaf table was also from their home. Bust over here created in 1909 by Rudolph Evans. Its likeness comes from the famous daguerreotype photo. Pretty nice. Evans is also one that created the statue over at the Jefferson Memorial. At the age of 17, as I mentioned earlier, he attended the newly formed University of Virginia. Lasted about a year and a half before dropping out. He had financial issues. He had a gambling problem. Some say he had gambled away all the money his father had given him. Others say his father hadn't given him enough money and he was gambling to try and earn more. Nonetheless, he didn't last. After UVA, he joined the military, enlisted under the alias Edgar A. Perry. Always the slickster. Yeah, he was trying to hide from creditors. Was very successful, rose to the rank of Sergeant Major, ended up going to West Point, lasted about a year and a half before he was kicked out for dereliction of duty. Old stone house, a lot of artifacts from his childhood. Over here, in memory of Mary Gavin Trailer. All right, let's see what's back here. The life of a literature. I guess this is going to go through his writing career. We'll find out. You can step inside the coffin for a photo op. Oh, quick note. A coffin is one of these 6-sided boxes. A casket is your traditional rectangle, four-sided box. Belgian movie poster for The Premature Burial, circa 1962. The Pit and the Pendulum was based on a true story. Didn't know that. Uh-oh, his pocket watch. And again, inspiration for a telltale heart. Their country house up there in the Bronx. I wanted to visit that when I was in New York, but it was just a little too far out of range. Here's Edgar without his famous mustache. Over here, part of his autobiography he wrote in 1841, and full of a lot of lies. He tried to claim he was younger than what he really was. Also said he participated in the Greek War of Independence, said that he got captured and was held in a Russian prison. So, yeah, he had quite the imagination. He had Poe's many loves, and yeah, towards the end of his life, he was pretty much just trying to find a rich woman to marry. He tried to get Nancy Richmond to leave her husband for him. That didn't work out. Sarah Helen Whitman, she broke off their engagement after about a month. And then finally he tried again with Elmira Royster Shelton. That daguerreotype again, 1850, Elmira Royster Shelton, and here are her spectacles. Oh. Here's the engagement ring Poe gave her. Here's the desk he used at the Southern Literary Messenger, 1848 to 1849.
Pretty standard desk. The statue was created by the actors in New York to commemorate the American poet. It expresses a deep and personal sympathy between stage and literature. Murders in the Rue Morgue, and they say this is the first detective story before the word detective was even an English word. Virginia Clem, Poe's 13-year-old wife. Oh, and it was his cousin. Yeah. He fell in love with her when he moved up to Baltimore to live with his Aunt Maria. Oh, by the way, I visited her house up in Baltimore. I've got a video on that if you want to check it out. But yeah, she died of tuberculosis. That's what got everybody back then, it seems like. And here's his wife's mirror. Trinket box. A soap ladle. Here's the chair he used at the Southern Literary Messenger. Doesn't look very comfortable. Looks like another writing desk. And his boss up there, Thomas Willis White. And yeah, he ended up firing Edgar twice in his short tenure there. They said that circulation increased sevenfold while he was there due to his innovative short stories, controversial books, shrewd editing. But yeah, Poe balked at authority. He challenged conventions. And it doesn't say it here, but I think drinking was a problem also. So, okay. And here she is again, Virginia. Yeah, she's pretty. That's his first wife.
All right, so up here is the reading room. Nevermore. Big old oil painting. Oh, that's kind of crazy. Interesting. Oh, Vincent Price. Okay. You can sit down, read some of his stories. Cool stained glass over here. The Mask of the Red Death. What's in here? Oh, that's kind of crazy. Little raven, little bronze, little statue. It's kind of some modern art, some starry nights, I guess. Vincent Van Poe. Okay. Well, cool place to hang out. A pretty good collection in there. Before I go into the final building, let me just walk over here. Okay, yeah, okay, this is a oak, big old live oak. Thomas Jefferson Garden Club, 1970, 1976. Oh, in loving memory of Pluto. Oh, one of the 3 black cats that lived here. Oh, some little black roses and a little tombstone. Yeah. Okay. This is going back to 1956 from the Thomas Jefferson Garden Club. All right, yeah, let me head on over. Yeah, some more of the bricks. Oh, here's the side of the old, okay, that chimney's new up there. The old stone building. Yeah, walk inside the last building. And this is going to be going over his death, his mysterious death up there in Baltimore. 1849. Old horse tie right here. Cool, all right, check this place out.
Got a couple rooms in here. Oh, actually to the right is employees only. Huh. The cat was just rubbing against my leg. But here's his silk waistcoat. And they said he did dress nice, but a careful eye could still tell that he was poor. This thing was pretty well worn, they say. And his socks down there. And small feet. Thick ankles, I guess. I don't know. But, and here's the picture again without his mustache. To tell you about Poe's final days, his mysterious death. Yeah, he left Richmond on his way to Philadelphia for a business trip, and he was found 5 days later, passed out in an alley in Baltimore, wearing someone else's clothes. He was taken to the hospital, survived 4 more days, but he was incoherent, and they could never get him to explain what exactly happened. There's Baltimore right there, 1849. And Baltimore was a really big city at the time. I believe it was the 3rd biggest city in the country at the time. Henry Herring, Poe's uncle, he refused to take care of him when he was injured up there in Baltimore. Instead, Poe's friend, Joseph Snodgrass, took him to the hospital. And yeah, it sounds like Poe made a lot of enemies or just burned a lot of bridges. I don't think I've ever seen these before, but these are boot hooks, obviously used to pull up your boots. And he had left them at his sister's home here in Richmond. A silver-plated picture from the Exchange Hotel here in Richmond. Oh, it's got a little engraving right there. I think it just says Exchange. I can't quite tell. Pretty cool raven back there. On Poe's deathbed, looks like the doctor asked the poet if he had any friends who could visit him during his final days. Poe answered that his best friend would be whomever would blow out his brains with a pistol. And they said he would alter between states of, he would go through periods of delirium. Yeah, they said he would just start screaming. And he kept repeating the name Reynolds. So nobody knows what that means. But over here, some gifts found on, you can visit his grave up there in Baltimore. Again, I filmed that when I was up there. Some cognac bottles, huh? Over here, the Grolier Club medallion. Poe's first complete works. Poe's walking stick. And his name is engraved here. I don't know if you can make it out. Okay, there it is, Poe. His trunk, which included his clothes and manuscripts. They had been confiscated by the Richmond Swan Tavern for lack of payment. Yeah, that's typical Poe. There. Oh, so the key to the trunk we just looked at, and yeah, it's a mystery. This was in his pocket while he was wearing someone else's clothes when he was found passed out unconscious there in Baltimore. And maybe he had planned to go back to the tavern and get the trunk at some point. I don't know. Over here, a lock of his hair. And that was a pretty popular thing, just to keep a little locket of a loved one's hair. And a fragment from his coffin. All right, cool. And this fell off while it was being moved. This is Rufus Griswold, and he wrote Poe's first biography, and much of what he wrote was incorrect. And he kind of slandered Poe, and again, Poe had ruffled his feathers, so that's why he didn't really have much good to say. Didn't have anything good to say about him. All right, the exit is back here. Oh, lots of theories on how he died. And one popular theory is that apparently it was a popular thing back then that the mob or whomever would get people to vote multiple times. And he was wearing a stranger's clothing, so they think that somebody was getting him to dress up as someone else and vote. But yeah, it's a mystery, and yeah, here are all the different theories. I've also heard that maybe a lover's husband or boyfriend had killed him. Yeah, guys, I guess it's a fitting end for somebody who wrote such mysterious stories. In the gift shop, some of his books. Vincent Price cookbook, all right. Pretty cool coffin shelf over here, and you can get a Edgar Allan Poe bobblehead.
Okay guys, all right, that wraps it up. I've actually been here a while. It may not look like it, but it's very crowded. I'm trying to hide from everybody so I can do my filming. But yeah, if you're ever down in Richmond, great place to check out. Again, tickets are $10. So yeah, gonna get out of here. As always, like and subscribe. See you guys on the next one.